Hey guys, welcome back! So, let's celebrate the 20 years of Lara Croft's adventures! Happy birthday to you! Happy birthday to you! Happy birthday, dear Lara! Happy birthday to you! Let's take a look!
Lara isn't 20 years old, definitely. It's been 20 years since she first started exploring the wilderness in search of
fortune and glory.
Well, for the 2013 reboot, her birthday was changed from Valentine's Day of 1968 to Valentine's Day of 1992, so she's precisely 24 years old. 1996 saw the debut of the adventures of this young girl that came about from the creative British studio Car Design that in the past gave us the also incredibly amazing stories of Rick Dangerous that can just be your father, right? I truly believe in that possibility. Obviously that the adventures of Indiana Jones were a huge inspiration for the designers behind the creation of such a memorable character that was recently rebooted in a game that for me is one of the best I've ever played in my whole life. And I'm simply loving Rise of the Tomb Raider. Tomb Raider was released firstly for the Sega Saturn in October of '96, followed closely by the PlayStation and DOS versions. And the fully 3D environments, allied with her impressive silhouette, cemented Lara's popularity right from the beginning. Toby Gard was the designer of Lara Croft herself, and one of the 6 persons who started working in the Tomb Raider project back in 1993. They focused the game towards puzzle solving and stealth rather than action. The Uncharted series was just what Tomb Raider didn't want to be in the first place. So the idea for Tomb Raider came after a visit to the Tokyo Game Show that Brother Smith took. They've witnessed firsthand the bright 3D future that was around the corner provided by the new consoles that were about to arrive. So that vision, combined with Toby Gard's designs of this female protagonist and the adventurous setting of Indiana Jones and Tintin stories, originated the massive popular Tomb Raider franchise. The first sketches showed an Indiana Jones ripoff with a mustache that was obviously and quickly rejected. So Toby went for a completely different approach, a female character. Lara Croft was her initial name, a South American explorer specialized in ancient artifacts. As you know, third-person video games involve a lot of staring at the main character's butt, so I believe that a lady's butt is way more appealing to young players that would, with no doubt, picture it in many of their own fantasies. Then in 1996, Eidos purchased Core Design and made the final touches. They wanted a more British-like gal, so the name Lara Croft was the first thing to be dropped, and to find a more suitable name, they grabbed the phone book and looked for something that sounded similar to Lara Croft. That's how the name Lara Croft came to be. She was named after an English citizen from Derby to be more precise, and got a great education and her own mansion, the Croft Manor, that was based in Core Design's own headquarters. Another final touch that, rumor says, was accidentally attained was Lara's breasts. Toby Gard was just messing around with 1 or 2 of her 250 polygons and increased her bosom by 150%. When he was getting her back to her normal state, the guys at the office saw the augmented version of Lara and stopped them right there, saying that she looked better that way. Like if I would believe that it was an accident. Yeah, right. Tomb Raider came right after Super Mario 64, selling more than 7 million copies, and was responsible for this huge shift in the video game industry. Core Design never imagined just how successful Tomb Raider would become. Lara Croft herself was seen as a pop artist and sex symbol. She appeared in a bunch of commercials and even in U2's Pop Mart tour, posed for magazines, had her own comic book series, and later Angelina Jolie was a perfect actress to play Lara's role in the big screen. Toby Gard didn't like the way Eidos was exploring Lara, so he left core design and completely abandoned the project right after the first game. A year after, Tomb Raider 2 was released for PC, PlayStation and Macintosh, being another huge commercial success, selling more than 8 million copies that led to Eidos' goal of releasing one Tomb Raider title per year. So in 1998 came the third chapter of Lara Croft's adventures that was not as successful as the previous title, but was considered as the pinnacle of the franchise, both artistically and creatively speaking. The team continued to release a brand new Tomb Raider game and expansions to the older ones every single year, culminating with the Angel of Darkness that was rushed to stores unfinished and filled with bugs. As part of their marketing plan, Eidos and Paramount Pictures wanted the game to be released before the premiere of the Cradle of Life movie, but because of the game's bad reviews, the fans completely ignored Lara Croft's Hollywood second venture. Core design was exhausted, and after that Angel of Darkness incident, Eidos passed the Tomb Raider franchise to the hands of Crystal Dynamics that in 2006 achieved the impossible, reviving this apparently long-lost franchise.
That was lovely.
Toby Gard was brought in as a consultant for this new Tomb Raider legend that went on becoming a huge success, selling more than 4.5 million copies, and soon after came the confirmation of a remake of the original Tomb Raider from 1996. It was highly praised all over the press, but ended up being the least commercially successful title from the whole franchise, selling only 1.3 million copies. I truly love this remake and can't quite comprehend why it performed so poorly. Underworld followed, being the first Tomb Raider title to rely on motion capture for Lara, making her moves more fluid and natural and ending Crystal Dynamics' trilogy with style. A year after Underworld was released, Eidos Interactive was acquired by Square Enix, but the Tomb Raider franchise remained in Crystal Dynamics' trustful hands, so by 2010, Lara returns in a different fashion with the Guardian of Light, bringing back the long-lost spirit of adventure and puzzle solving so familiar to those who played the first titles of the franchise, and being praised for that both by journalists and by fans of Lara. And we've reached 2013, when Crystal Dynamics showed to the world their reinvented Lara and her fight for survival. As I said in a couple of other videos where I mentioned this game as one of my favorites ever, I can really feel in my own skin that claustrophobic setting and the imminent fear factor, and it's pretty amazing to watch Lara evolve from a fragile human being to a badass survivor. And that's what this game is able to convey, the will to survive, no matter what. And the musical score really intensifies all those feelings with heart-pounding moments, cause you know, it was written by Jason Graves, that has the Dead Space trilogy in his resume. It sold 8.5 million copies, becoming the best-selling Tomb Raider game from the whole franchise.
This was some of the most emotionally and physically draining work that I'd ever done.
In 2014, another spin-off and a sequel to The Guardian of Light arrived to stores by the name Lara Croft and the Temple of Osiris. But fans were really looking forward to the true sequel of the 2013 reboot. And that takes us to the rise of the Tomb Raider, released firstly for the Xbox One and 360 back in 2015, and this year was also made available for the PC and PS4. Grab the PS4 20-year celebration pack that also contains the art book and the new DLC mission, and I'm truly enjoying the experience. It was considered by Time magazine as the 18th best video game of all time, and I totally agree. This title performed poorly when it was available for Microsoft's consoles back in November of 2015, probably because it was released in the same day as Fallout 4, but I'm not really sure if Rise of the Tomb Raider will surpass its predecessor, cause many PlayStation players got really angry with Crystal Dynamics' decision of releasing their brand new game exclusively for Xbox players. I simply don't care about that stuff. I love to play the 2013 Reboot on my Xbox 360 and the PC, and I'm truly enjoying playing this last Tomb Raider installment on my PS4, even if it only arrived to Sony's console a year later. "20 years later, the Tomb Raider franchise is alive and kicking, so I really hope to play around with Lara 20 years in the future. Happy birthday, Lara! Many more adventures will surely come, and I truly hope that you take us all along with you." So guys, tell me in the comment section below, what's your favorite Lara Croft adventure? Are you a fan of the genre? You know that I'm a huge fan of adventure and exploration. I keep telling this to all you guys in practically every video I make. So this genre is a big deal for me. So if you've enjoyed this episode, please like, share and subscribe to It's a Pixel Thing. Feel free to check these other videos that I try to bring every week for all fans of retro and not so retro video games. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next episode.